Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way to get up in the morning than to get up with Garret. Garret is a third-generation success credentialed real estate entrepreneur who's here to give you tips, tricks, and share stories of success. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Garret Bedrin.
Good morning, Dougie.
Good morning.
I love it. I hear
Yes,
that
sir.
entrance music. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Good to be
It
with
gets
you.
the people going.
Get the people going in our spooky, spectacular pre-Halloween episode, I
Ooh,
guess,
hey
right?
now, hey now. I like it. I like it.
You know what's not spooky?
Yeah.
The New York Football Giants are 6-1.
Ooh, yes. You want to
I
go
mean,
right into that?
Jeez, I don't know how we don't go right into that.
All right, because
I mean-
I have a surprise game for you.
You do.
Yes.
Surprise game.
This was brought to me by our sister station, Mind Your Fucking Business.
Oh, geez, you got to be careful with that one.
He has a
Otherwise-
surprise game for you. We
Okay.
played it an hour ago.
You're kidding. I did not see
Yes,
that.
yes, yeah. So
Well-
here's the game.
Okay, first, let me introduce
Okay.
our friend,
Absolutely.
good buddy of mine, Jeff Guberman, coming in, a YPO friend, a serial entrepreneur, is going to be spending the hour with us
Nice.
and joining us. Jeff has an extensive background in luxury travel, in events, and obviously also talking some real estate. So we appreciate Jeff joining the show. Right?
Absolutely.
He'll be with us today, helping us out.
Are you a Giant fan?
I come from a long line of family of Giant fans.
Okay.
So
All right. We'll allow it. We'll allow it.
it's enough. Yeah,
Maybe you
but
can play too.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
All right, perfect.
You ready?
I'm going to do it.
It's an easy game. Quick and
Okay.
easy game.
All right.
So the game is I'm going to say teams for the rest of the schedule, and you're going to say win or lose.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Seahawks,
Win.
Texans,
Win.
Lions,
Win.
Cowboys,
Lose.
Commanders,
Win.
Eagles, Giants are home.
Lose.
Commanders we're away.
Lose.
Away at the Vikings.
Win.
Home Colts.
Win. That's it. That's the last game.
No, Eagles again.
Oh, jeez. Last game of the year, Eagles.
Yep.
Where is it?
Away. The first Giant Eagles game was home. Do you want to do what was your answer for Eagles Giants first one home?
I don't remember now. That was a
I
long
think-
time ago.
Were you taking check? He said win. All right, good. Eagles at the Eagles now, last game of the season.
Okay, lose.
Okay. I think you said what? 3 losses? 4 losses. Better than me. I said so and an hour ago
Did I win?
I said we were going 15-2.
Oh, shit.
So I
So
said
what'd
we're
I
going
say?
15-2.
I
So
said 4 more losses.
4 losses.
So we have 1, so 5 total.
Yeah. So what's
12,
that?
12 and 5?
12 and
Because
5.
there's 17 games now.
That's playoff competition right there.
Yeah, no, it's looking. Look. If you're waking up today and you're in this area, northern New Jersey, and you're a
Mhm.
Giant fan, I mean, how are you not stoked? And how are you not dressing up as Brian Dable for Halloween?
Yeah.
I mean, we have the Jordans. All you
Yeah.
gotta do is throw on the bald head
Yeah.
and the sunglasses and bring a little swagger. And I mean, you got the
Absolutely.
outfit down.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at I think I'm 3-0 at home games.
Yeah.
Right. You've been to few.
Yeah. I've been to all of them so far. It's been great.
All right, then you're 3-1 because we did lose one at home.
Yes, I was at the whiteout Dallas game.
Yeah.
The only game I wore the white Eli jersey. Every other game I wore the blue Saquon, and we won. So now I've been wearing that.
Yep.
Even when I'm home, when they're away, I'm
Yeah.
wearing the blue Saquon.
I have a
We're
pair of sneakers, Giant sneakers that one of our former guests, Jordan Lehman, a friend of mine,
Yeah.
had bought me for my 40th birthday. They're something you would never wear other than to the Giants game,
Nice.
and they've been pretty lucky so far.
Been great.
So we can't complain about that. But
Absolutely.
I mean, look, Daniel Jones was just named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He had 200 passing yards and 100 rushing yards and a rushing TD.
Yes.
And he threw a TD. So, I mean, this guy obviously, I'm looking for that kind of my kid's radio flyer because I'm
Yeah.
looking for all the people that want to get on the Giants bandwagon, especially the Danny Jones bandwagon.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room. I mean, come on and join me. I've been there for about 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
Everyone thought I was crazy, but this guy has what it takes to be the prototypical future quarterback in the NFL because he becomes the second best rusher on the team,
Yeah.
and he's really good. And by the way, the other guy, Barkley, is really, really good. So we have like a two-headed monster
Yep.
here on the running game
Mhm.
that I don't think many teams have or can defend well.
best bet right now. I've been making my bets right on DraftKings. So when I choose the Giants to win, it's easy. Danny Dimes passing over 150,
Yeah.
easy. And then they also have them over 30 yards rushing, easy.
So it used to be like 20, and I won a
Yeah.
bunch of games with that
Yeah.
over 20, and then you get burned once in a while.
Yeah.
But you're right. So that's gone up. That's
Yeah.
interesting on the betting side.
150 and 30 are the easy ones.
There were the last week, I think they were an underdog by 3.
Mhm.
I picked them to win, right? Because I really felt like that was a disrespect.
Yeah.
I'm sure I screwed that up with some type of parlay with the Packers, or I did parlay the Giants and Jets to both win, which they did. That was cool. But yeah, I mean, they're still not getting a ton of respect yet.
Yeah, they're +3 this week against the Seahawks. I mean, I think they're going to win outright.
And look, it's conceivable that they could lose to the Cowboys twice and lose to the Eagles twice and still potentially win the division, or get second place. Like, they're ahead of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just because they lose to them, if they have a better record, they still would.
Yeah. Only a tie. Only
ahead
a
of
tie
them.
would affect us.
Would be that. So, look, I've enjoyed watching the team play. The NFC is absolutely up for grabs. Let's just be clear. Like in the AFC, to me, you can't convince me that it won't be the Bills or Chiefs. You just can't. Doesn't mean it's going to be, but I don't see any kind of logical reasoning that it won't be. So the Jets are having a fun time too, and they're winning a lot of games. I'm sure all those green Jet fans are, getting excited. But in my mind, there's no way the Jets jump ahead of the Bills and the Chiefs. In the NFC, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Eagles are playing awesome right now. But the 49ers, right? The Vikings, the Packers, the Rams. I mean, I could give you 10 teams that can make the Super Bowl in the NFC. Why would the Giants not be that team if they keep winning like this? I mean, you're going to wake up and go, my goodness, they really have it. And then the season will be over, and it's like playoffs already.
I made a $10 bet that week 2 of the season, Giants win the NFC.
Okay.
I made another bet, $10 bet. But the Giants win the NFC, I get $300. Giants go to the Super Bowl.
Well, that would be
$2,000.
Well, going to the Super Bowl or winning?
Go to the Super Bowl.
Well, winning the NFC is the same thing as going to the Super Bowl. Yes.
Winning the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I got like 4 bets.
Okay.
Winning the NFC, $300. $10 gives me $300.
That's a good one.
Winning the Super Bowl, another $2,000.
Right.
Now, if the Giants play the Bills, I get another $2,000. If they go to the Super Bowl, Giants, Super Bowl.
Would that be the most incredible thing?
Yeah.
I mean, my grandmother wouldn't know who to choose because she used to root for Marv Levy, and Giants, Bills, man, after we take the general manager and the coach, wouldn't that
Giants,
be crazy?
Bills, Super Bowl. I made that week 2 of this season. For $10 gets me $2,000. So long story short, I made a bunch of bets for $10. Giants win the Super Bowl, Giants playing the Bills, Giants beating the Bills. If the Giants beat the Bills in the Super Bowl, I get $6,000.
Wow.
Because all 4 of those bets would hit.
Yeah, now that is a kind of a long shot, though. You know that, right?
$40 is going to yield me $6,000.
Yeah, no, nothing.
$10 a bet.
Well, that's why it's fun. You got to now listen. You got to bet with the money that you can afford to lose. Dougie is playing with money that he can afford to play with, right? Cup of coffee here or there. Do not put your mortgage payment on the Giants beating the Bills in the Super Bowl, Jeff. Right? I don't think that's likely, and I'm the biggest Giants fan. I am not making that bet. But look, if the Giants go to the Super Bowl, you're going to need that money to pay for your Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah.
By the way,
it's a good idea to use it for.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a great. If you said to me, I won $3,000 from these bets during the year, and now I'm going to go to the Super Bowl and spend $3,000, I say, Doug, you're a genius because that's living life. True. Enjoy yourself. If that actually happens, you should do that, and I'll be there too. I'm sure Juliet would want to go this year. It's in Arizona.
Nice.
Now, I did go to the Super Bowl 42 in Arizona where the Giants upset the Patriots. That's perfect 18-1 season that never happened. And I will admit to paying $600 for a residence. A Ramada Inn in Glendale. It was such a rundown place. And I looked at the rates on the door and it said normal rate $99. It was $600.
They jacked it up just for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Isn't that like price gouging?
Yes.
So that's illegal.
It's not right, but sometimes these things happen. It's not right.
Dynamic pricing in the hotel industry.
Oh, now
it's legal.
Is it legal, Jeff?
It's legal.
That's
legal. Just like the airlines.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit more about that, because Jeff, you've had such a background in luxury travel and group travel and business travel, and I know you're also creating some really cool events in New York City with the company. I wrote it down here. Let's see, Beyond Times Square, right?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about dynamic ticketing, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, so it's basically just supply and demand. The airlines have been doing it forever. Hotels started doing it in recent years, and you're going to see a lot more of it across different products because as supply goes up, demand,
Yeah.
supply goes up, price goes down. As demand goes up, price goes up.
So why is that now something we're going to see more of than the past? What's the difference? What is it? A new technology? Is it the fact that we're all connected on the internet and it's very flat world, and they know our phones and they know where we want to go, what we're Googling?
It's a mixture of everything that you just said. So there is a lot of new technology out there that's doing this. So when we lived in a mom and pop world,
Right.
your plumber wasn't going to do dynamic pricing. He's going to charge you the $99 an hour, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But there are softwares right now that can model what's going to happen, and it's all based off of what the airlines did. And so the airlines know that over the last 20 years, by this date, that future ticket you're looking at should have sold at least 10 tickets by now at a certain price. If they're beating that, then they're going to start increasing the price. If they're trailing that, they'll start reducing the price. But it's all completely automated on a second by second
Really?
basis.
This is some deep analytical
Yeah.
software. Yeah.
It's crazy, and they have so much data that they use to drive those prices. And so that technology is going to start moving into a lot of different things that you're looking at, but hotels have been doing it as well.
You know who's also been doing it for a long time, Dougie?
Who's that?
Professional sports teams. This has been around. It hasn't been talked about as much,
Mhm.
but I will tell you that all the professional teams are using software like this to adjust their pricing based on, do you really want to go see Memphis on a February and Tuesday? Now, in that world, it's a little bit different because the strength of the opponent is changing year to year, right? So like traveling to Turks and Caicos is pretty good. I went there 10 years ago. I'm going there this year. It's kind of the same in terms of I know the experience I'm going to get from the island.
Mhm.
But, the Lakers are not the Lakers every year, right?
Definitely not now.
I mean, they're 0-4, right? And maybe they don't have LeBron every year or whatever. So, Memphis on Tuesday in February in some years could be a great game, but many years is probably not a great game, right? Or Sacramento, they went through a period where they were awesome and Sacramento tickets were so expensive when I was at the Warriors. Now they're not, So that type of analytical software is being used in professional sports to help figure out, what the right pricing should be, which is why when I sold season tickets, that was part of the kind of pitch that it's very consistent. You know what your price is.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Lakers are really, really good, but you're not paying $800 for the $100 ticket.
Mhm.
But look, we'd have to talk to some of my friends who were there, as I haven't been there obviously in 15 years. They may be doing it differently now, where they may be pricing games at a certain price publicly. You may see
Mhm.
like, oh, Lakers are 800, but Memphis is 200. I wouldn't be shocked if they were very public about it, but certainly in the past, behind the scenes, they were thinking about all that stuff.
Absolutely. And that's how they're going to try and fill every seat at the highest dollar.
Absolutely. Supply and
Mhm.
demand. And, I've been hearing a lot from the airlines when you watch the talking heads on the business shows, Jeff. It seems like people want to be out. They want to be traveling. From my experience talking to friends, I had a meeting got canceled later today because the guy's on vacation, and, I know we're going away. My parents just went away for a couple of days. People definitely, in my opinion, and I get a small slice of it from different states, right? Different properties that the family works with. What's your opinion? Are people focused? Are they still kind of going through that pent up demand? Do they want to take trips? And, it sounds like some of these planes are pretty full. So what's the issue? Are we missing planes? Are we missing pilots? Help us understand that industry a little bit better.
So I'll say that my opinion on this is somewhat anecdotal. I don't have any knowledge that, that
Sure.
you all don't have.
Right.
But planes are flying incredibly full right now. They're having staffing shortage. They're reducing the number of planes that are flying right now because they want to fly full planes, but they also can't find enough staff to manage what's happening. If you look at United pulling out of JFK, and
Wow.
that's from a lot of, from something that's beyond all of that. That's because of a slot issue, but
Sure.
but you're seeing it everywhere. And as bad as it is here, Europe is even worse.
Yep.
We're hearing from a lot of our clients in Europe that they will not take a flight for a same day thing ever because the delays are so much worse even than what we're dealing with.
So they're losing their whole day. It's hard to do
Yeah.
business when you have to potentially give up half your day with delays, right?
Right.
Or being early for security, all that in there.
Yeah.
And
Well, just think about the whiplash that the airlines have experienced with demand going to zero
Mhm.
and then going to where we are today. At the same time that it seems like so much of the labor market has moved to an island somewhere that I can't find.
where is everybody? I mean, where
No
where
idea.
are all these people not working?
The
You know,
magic question.
Where are they? It's just incredible. Doug, have you been on an airplane recently, or
Not since COVID.
okay?
Well, actually, no, scratch that. We went to Key West for our honeymoon, and we got COVID on the way back. So,
that was like a year ago, but that
yeah, it
was
about
not-
about a year and a half ago. Everything went smoothly. Everything was great. I do see. So I've been hearing this is the new trend now. People are getting a remote job, doing the bare minimum remotely, and getting another remote job and doing this bare minimum remotely, and both jobs don't know about each other. So they're getting like 2 full-time salaries, barely doing any work,
Huh.
and they're sitting at home. That's like the new trend.
Wow.
That's the new trend. I mean, let me know if you guys find one of these do nothing jobs, but yeah.
So you're saying they're booking 2 part-time jobs or 2 full-time jobs?
Well, I mean, you're remote. They're taking 2 full-time jobs.
Right, because you don't really
They're
know how many
remote.
hours the
Yeah.
person's kind of logged
They're
in.
remote. They maybe have 2 computers set up, and
Mhm.
you know, because like there's some tracking things where you can like track the clicks and how many if your mouse is moving, like but there's like ways around that too.
Sure.
But that's a whole nother issue. And they're like, you know, doing half-ass stuff, just the bare minimum for these both jobs, and now they're collecting double the salary.
Well, you know who's not doing a half-assed job
Who's
and who's not putting in the minimum
Yeah.
effort would be Mr. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Because this guy is not only busy running Tesla, which I know Jeff's a big fan of Tesla
I am.
and a customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Elon is also not only running SpaceX, which we're an investor in through our friends Ron Barron and the Barron Funds. I'm very excited about, you know, anytime you can land a reusable rocket on pretty much a pencil, I think is something you want to be involved in. But now Elon, I believe tomorrow, is going to be purchasing Twitter.
Wow.
Right. And he showed up today at the offices carrying the kitchen sink. I'm not really sure what this means, to be honest with you, because there's like an old proverb, you know, oh, get rid of everything but the kitchen sink, or everything including the kitchen sink. And I'm curious, what do you guys think? He walks in with the kitchen sink.
I thought it was the quote. He's like, "I'm buying Twitter. Let that sink in." I thought that was the.
Think
the
so?
joke. Yeah.
Okay.
I read
What do you think
something
so,
about
Jeff?
that as well, but it's actually a bathroom sink, which makes it even more
Yes,
confusing.
that does not look now that I see the
Yeah.
picture, you're right. That does not look like a kitchen sink.
It also looks like the first physical labor that he's done
Absolutely.
in many years.
I don't see that much definition. Yes. It looks tough on him. And I don't know what's going to happen here, friends, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. And look, you know, you had your chance. If you're upset that you missed it and missed the opportunity, it was right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter was announced that he was going to be purchasing it. What was it? 5420, Jeff?
5420.
5420, which I don't know where that comes from, but that will be some number that goes down in infamy. And, you know, over time, the stock shrank. And I don't know if you have the ability to look up Google Finance or Yahoo Finance while we talk, but I mean, this stock certainly was down, I would say 20, 30%, maybe 40%.
It's sitting at 53.96 right now. 5 days ago, it was $50. A month ago, it was 42.
Yep. What else? Is this live or are you just showing
This
it?
is live.
Okay, let's see.
Oh no, I'm not showing. I'm just
Gotcha.
reading it off. $38 September 2nd.
Okay, $38 September 2nd. Enough said.
July was $30.
$30. Okay, so like investing is not always hard. Sometimes it's just being a really good listener and trusting the information that you have. And in this case, we all missed it. I didn't invest in Twitter. I don't know if you guys did, but nobody really thought it was going to happen. And it looks like it's happening, by the way. And you could have bought in at $30 and Elon would have paid you $54.20 for your 30.
Almost double your money.
You would almost double your money in what, 2 months, 3 months? Like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
I think the reason that most of us didn't, and I did not, was because he is so erratic. And the assumption is he knew something we didn't. You know, if he's saying I'm not buying this thing right now, then somehow he knew something that we didn't. And while he was going through the process, he did a lot of damage to that company. I mean, just the morale, the talent that left, the perceptions about it. And if he's right that there's so many bots, then what does that mean to advertisers? So I feel good about my safe decision not to invest in Twitter.
Well, that's good. You never lose money. I should say, if you pass on something, right, even the good deal, you still don't lose money. That's okay.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing wrong with passing. In fact, once in a while, you should pass on a good deal because, it's part of kind of your own internal system, judging and making good decisions. I think that's healthy.
Every time I've lost money, I was sure it was a good deal.
That's a good quote. I like that one. But what's going to happen here? He's obviously going to strip this, totally do this his way. I mean, so now, just so everyone understands, the company will be a private company.
Mm-hmm.
You can't buy stock in it anymore. Yeah. Now there's a number of people that are investing in it with him. This is not all his money, by the way. What was it? 44 billion was the price?
44 billion, but it's a mixture of debt, private equity, etc.
Gotcha. So we don't really know the real number yet,
Mm-hmm.
but my guess from my experience in business, and Jeff, I'm curious your experience, he probably has like 4 to 8 billion in here. Like, I doubt he has anywhere more than 10 to 20%.
I believe it was north of that because I think he had to sell 12 billion of stock.
Really?
So I know it was definitely north of that.
That's a big number, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened in the last couple of weeks, but a lot of people that had committed to him in the original deal pulled out based on all the chaos.
Really?
So I don't know where it's wound up, but there was a lot of, he couldn't get the debt that he was trying to get, and so I know there were some challenges.
So we're going to see how that plays out, right? Go ahead.
Speaking of chaos, so like I'm gathering that he has to buy Twitter now.
Yes.
Moves that he made, he can't pull out of this deal.
Well, yeah, they went to court.
Yeah.
And in court.
So how can you say, like, if I go to the store and I pick up a Red Bull can and then I walk to the chest, I don't want to get this anymore, and I put it back on the shelf, why can't he do the same thing?
You didn't sign a contract at that grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah, when you went to that grocery store, you're not under the contract of, hey, Mr. Grocer, where do you shop? ShopRite or Stop and Shop, whatever.
Walgreens right down the street.
All right, go to
ShopRite right down the street. Stop and Shop.
Walgreens is not doing things dependent on you buying that can. This is very different. Now, they used a clause, I think, and I'm not a lawyer, called specific performance, which is not used too often.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas basically it says, if you're under contract to buy this company or this piece of real estate and you don't move forward with it, we're going to sue you. And instead of money, we're suing you to actually close the deal because your actions have created so much chaos and damage to the company that it's no longer the same as what it was pre getting in bed with you.
Gotcha.
So because of the contract to buy it, that's the issue.
So when signing that contract, he was at the cash register and he signed to buy it. That's
he made like an agreement to buy it, and then he
bought it.
And then you have a couple months of what's called due diligence, where you go through and look at the history and all the financials and things that aren't necessarily disclosed to everyone. You kind of dive in a little more. In the real estate side, we're reading all the leases, talking to the different vendors, looking at the contracts. Now, there are often times when something pops up that either was not disclosed or is really different and concerning, and you say, look, we're not moving forward. Now, sometimes you also kind of renegotiate and talk about those things. But in this case, he claimed there were millions of users that were not real, right? Calls them bots.
True.
And I guess they claim, look, we disclosed X, Y, and Z to you. You knew all this. It's not anything new. You're just making a bigger deal of it. And in the end, I guess all the lawyers got together and saw that he didn't really have that big a chance to win.
But I think that a big part of the reason that it was so cut and dry is he waived all of the due diligence provisions in his contract. And so when he originally tried to buy Twitter, they didn't want him. And so he sweetened the deal by saying, I won't even do due diligence. I just want your company, and here's what I'll pay you for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's he obviously has a grand plan, and I don't know if it means it's going to return to profit tomorrow. He loves to talk about free speech, and likely it's something totally different. I mean, Twitter has not been a fantastic revenue generator. My mind is, and my bet is really on, you're going to see something that's drastically different. But give it time. It's not going to be tomorrow.
Well, he's talking about the everything app, or I forget the exact word that he's using, but he sees this as the beginning of his everything app, which goes back to x.com.
Yes.
And so he's actually bought X.com back from PayPal. So originally he started off before PayPal with
Mhm.
X.com trying to do the first digital bank. And he merged with PayPal and instead did PayPal
Gotcha.
and then exited that. But he wants to go back to that world of the app of
I
everything.
forgot about that. And I think there's in China, isn't there an app where they do so many things in one app,
Yeah, they
right?
live on it.
Right? Where they make payments, they
Yeah.
send bank
Yep.
transfers, they get an Uber. I forget, Tencent or listening, I'm just getting all confused. But you're right. I think he's looking for something where he can control a lot of other things, and Twitter's a big piece of that to him.
Yes.
So we'll see.
It's going to be an ecosystem at one point in his mind. And so he said that buying this will get him 3 to 5 years closer to his app of everything.
Interesting.
Have you guys seen The Office?
Of course.
Of course.
So Wolf, when Ryan makes Wolf, Wolf, and she's like, I wish I could text you, email you, do this all in one, and I wolf you. He's trying to make the wolf
That's
app.
what he's trying to do. Yeah.
I think I missed that one.
The wolf? I'll send it to you.
Speaking of other great entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
Jeff and I recently had the ability to, sorry, the audio is a little in and out of my ears, had the ability to meet one of the co-founders of Home Depot.
Nice.
We recently went to a networking session with Ken Langone. So there's, you may have heard of Langone from NYU Medical Center. He's donated, I think, over $200 million, he said.
Mhm.
So there really were there's considered 4 founders of Home Depot.
Mhm.
Most people only know about Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank. Yep, there's Ken. Absolutely. I wasn't able to get a great dead-on shot. He was moving around a lot. But I think he's 87. He looks great. And we got to go to a pretty cool space in New York City and have kind of a private lunch with him and have him talk and share some fireside stories. So there's 4 founders. You have Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank owns the Falcons. So most people know Arthur Blank, and some have heard of Bernie Marcus. And then the other 2, there's a gentleman named Pat, I forget his last name, who was kind of like, I guess, their COO type. And then Ken Langone really brought in the money and knew how to scale this. And it's just an incredible story. I mean, obviously, there's a number of books written about Home Depot, and you'd be blown away how many millionaires came from just working on the floor and starting at kind of the associate level. And I wanted to share a great story that Ken shared with our group that I thought just was really hit home for me. He was telling a funny story how he was in one of the stores late at night, and a young junior associate says to him, he says, "Excuse me, are you, who are you? Are you with the company?" And Ken says, "Yeah, I'm on the board of directors." And this is just a kid, Ken calls him a kid, says to him, "Well, are you dumb or were you born stupid?" Right? I mean, could you imagine mouthing off like that? And Ken looks at him and goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, let me show you. Customers coming in here, it's an emergency, they need a plunger, and they can't find a plunger. When you need a plunger at midnight, you need the plunger. You don't want to start looking for it." And he gets down on his knees and he kind of burrows underneath all the stuff. He's like, "They're all the way back here underneath. Nobody can find them." So Ken says to him, "Well, did you ever think about putting them somewhere else?" And he goes, "Well, no, I never did. I mean, I'd like to put them at the end of the aisle because I think people would see them and grab them. But I never asked about doing it." And Ken says, "Well, where I come from, you don't ask, you just do it. I mean, nobody told you you couldn't do it." And so the kid kind of scratches his head and says, "Okay, well, I think that's a good idea. That's where they should go on the end." And when I mean the end, like the end cap of the aisle, right? Where now you see a lot of impulsive things purchased. So I don't know, a couple weeks go by, Ken comes back to the store and he sees the kid and he grabs the kid and he goes, "Look, there's no plungers." And Ken says, "I don't understand. Where's the plungers, kid?" And the guy goes, "Well, I put them on the end and they all sold." They're all out of them. So, Ken's story to us, what I think is really important that I wanted to share with you today is that no matter what position you're in, you want your associates to think that they work with you. Okay. You never want to treat your associates in this way of "you work for me." You want your associates, even at the ground level, to feel like they work with you. And you want to empower them to make decisions and not be able to have that fear of failure. Whereas you're going to be fired because you moved the plungers from the side of the aisle to the end of the aisle. So I just thought that was a great story of how important trial and error is as far as being an entrepreneur, being a manager, giving your people the room to take those chances. Because now when you walk up and down any retail store, you see an incredible setup at the end cap where you have a lot of impulsive purchases that are really high margin items and end up moving really well. So I don't know if you remember hearing that story. It resonated
yeah.
with you as well at the event. And if you want to read Ken's book, right? I think I put up a picture of it. It's called I Love Capitalism. I think that's Ken's new book. If you get a chance to see that real quick. And he's obviously been involved in tons of other businesses and extremely charitable. I mean, just gives to so many different organizations and is very passionate about giving. I mean, he probably will give away more money than most people could even dream about making in their lifetime, in all honesty. He's clearly, I mean, he's a billionaire and he's giving away tons of money. And just really blown away by him sharing those stories with us. And there's other Home Depot books that are great too, but I definitely recommend you read a little bit about Ken. Did you have any thoughts about the time together with him? Anything that jumped out at you that you really appreciated? Or
first, as a man in his late 80s, he has more energy than I think I've ever had in my life. And he was incredibly impressive. It was an inspiring story to think about how he and his partners came up with this idea, but his partners had basically just failed at doing something somewhat similar.
Right, the Handy Mandy or Handy Dan.
Handy Dan or something like that. And they took that failure and they turned it into one of the most unimaginable successes in our lifetime. You know, they started in the 80s.
Yeah. It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that long.
Like, that's the other thing, right? It really went quick in the grand scheme of life.
Right. Which was shocking to me.
The dinosaurs were 60 million years ago, but Home Depot was like 40.
Yeah.
And maybe because I still imagine myself in my mid-20s, maybe I don't realize
I'm not the only
old
person
I've
that does
become.
that. You still see yourself at 26 to 28? That's exactly how I view myself.
Of course.
Oh my God. Sounds like a wonderful therapy session. Oh my God, that's so fun. Yeah, he had, not only did he have a lot of energy, he was funny, and he really talked with a lot of humility. You know, and a huge success story, but was never about him or about the other partners. It was really about the fantastic associates that they work with and the great people that they worked with. And you know, there's legendary stories. There's a lot of funny things. They actually, and I'll share one other little tidbit. In the early days, you know, they didn't have a ton of dollars for inventory, right? And they didn't have a lot of credit. So when you're a retailer, certain manufacturers, distributors will give you a line of credit to buy your merchandise, to put in your store. And maybe you have to pay it in 30, 60, 90, 120-day terms, whatever it may be, which gives you time to sell it and then pay for it. Pretty cool, right? So for young companies that have cash flow challenges, that's very helpful. Well, they didn't have a ton of credit. So they told the manufacturers, just send us the empty boxes of the items. And so they'd have one or two of the item, and then they would stack up 10 or 12 empty boxes to make it look like they had a ton of inventory.
Interesting.
Pretty cool facade, right?
That was great. And actually, one of my favorite parts about that part of the story was he talked about how the first store was this tiny little store at 60,000 square feet.
Right. Oh my God.
It was like, it's just like a baby little nothing store at 60,000 square feet.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, we have a Lowe's in our portfolio that's probably 135,000 feet. But other than that, I don't think anybody is 60,000 feet. I mean, we have a whole bunch of 20s and 30s. I mean, 60 is tremendous. I do have one Burlington that's like 76, but it's, you know, older. So yeah, I mean, that's a big number. And now the average Home Depots, I'm sure, are similar to Lowe's, which are probably in the 110, 120 range. There are a lot of retailers that I know are kind of shrinking their footprint. Like Burlington's gone from 70 to 50, 40. Now they're looking at stores in the 20s. So a number of retailers are shrinking to help cover some of the costs. The other story that I thought was interesting that I found out about, do you guys remember, I don't know if it was a couple years ago or, well, it was over the past couple of years, but GameStop had this tremendous kind of unpredictable run up in the stock market and went nuts. And people were just shocked. Like, what is going on with GameStop? We think they're a company that's about to die. You remember the story?
Yeah.
So I remember this, of course,
about a year ago, year and a half ago.
Post-COVID, I have no idea when things happened. Like everything from 2020 to 2023, I mean, it's all a mesh. So to me, it's all the same time frame. And so GameStop was a company that, you know, you went to buy a cool game for whatever system you're using, and then you trade it in, and they'd probably sell it 10 times, which is great margin, right? You buy it for 50, sell it back to them for 25 and credit. They then sell for 35 and buy it back for 20, you know, so kind of keeps going. Pretty good business model. But I think with the internet and a lot of games being digital and downloaded, that was probably one that was going to go away. I know they closed the one in Promise Park Mall because I opened up right next to them with the Salons by JC. So evidently there was a group of people on Reddit, and if you're not familiar with Reddit, it's kind of a platform where you can share different ideas, and it's kind of like not a forum.
It's like blogs,
Yeah.
but it's like Twitter and blogs had a baby.
It's like message board, and you can kind of like follow different threads, right? Like you could type in something like hydration, right? And someone will post, well, I drink 5 of these waters a day, and someone else will post a picture of what they drink, and this is ongoing, right? So I guess there's certain investing threads and things like that, and somebody just started to kind of push this concept of you should be investing in GameStop because they're bringing in either a new CEO or someone just took a big I think the founder of Chewy took a big piece of the stock, and he thought there'd be this big turnaround, and it just became this tremendous viral sensation, and people started spending $50, $100, $50,000, $10,000 buying up the stock. And I don't want to get too much into short selling because I'm not an expert in that, but there was a lot of hedge funds that were basically betting that GameStop was going to go out of business, which means you short the stock, which is basically a bet that the company's stock price will go down. And if it goes up, you got a big problem, a huge financial problem. So there were, I don't know how many people, thousands of people, let's say, that wanted these hedge funds to fail and wanted to like save GameStop, but also kind of like punch the hedge funds in the gut and started buying up the stock, which made the price go higher, which made the hedge funds have to sell and take huge losses to cover what's called cover their shorts. So if you get a chance to check out Netflix, I forget what it's called, but I gave you the picture.
Pulling it up.
Let's pull it up. Let's see. Here we go. Eat the Rich. Eat the Rich. The GameStop saga. It's like 3 40-minute episodes. Did you get a chance to see it, Jeff?
I saw the first 2 episodes.
Okay. What'd you think?
I thought it was really interesting. And as somebody whose friend convinced him to buy some GameStop stock, it was really interesting to see. I got out with a tiny, tiny profit.
Okay.
The tiniest of profits.
Not worthwhile.
Bought at the high.
Yeah.
And got out at just the right moment. But it was really interesting. And the conspiracy theories that are still swirling around it about, Robinhood pulled off the buy button.
Yeah.
And did the hedge funds really influence that? And who knows what the answer is?
Wow. And some of this was started by someone that calls himself like Flying Kitty or something. I mean, this is hysterical. I'm not making this up.
We have people chiming in. We have it. So Danielle chimes in, and I believe she's right. Wall Street Bets was the Reddit forum. Wall Street Bets.
Looks like Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel. Yep.
Oh yes, Daniel.
Yep.
Daniel.
Thank you for giving it. Wall Street Bets. That's the
Wall
Street
Street Bets, and like the big thing was Diamond Hands. I think that was a Wolf of Wall Street quote, Diamond Hands or something.
Okay, cool.
And then Jordan's chiming in too. Retailers are shrinking their footprint to reduce costs. It's better to go digital. So thank you, Jordan, for tuning in. And he says, if you like Netflix stock, then you should check out the Diamond Hands, The Legend of Wall Street Bets.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And I guess this is a great time to remind everybody we are live. So if you have questions or comments or concerns, things you want us to talk about the show, you can put those in the comment section, and as appropriate, we will address them. We also have an email, right? If you want to email the show.
Yes.
I think it's getupwithgarret@gmail.com.
There you go.
So feel free to shoot us a note and say hello, anything you want us to address in the future. We do appreciate the live engagement. That's part of the fun of being live. We can handle that stuff.
Absolutely.
So it was a 3-part documentary. I also rediscovered that Cobra Kai was back. I had missed the whole season of Cobra Kai.
You missed the whole season?
Can you believe it?
You're not at the edge of your seat waiting for it?
And I don't understand how I missed this, but now I'm tied in, and I just love it. It's so bad, it's great. I won't no spoiler alerts on Cobra Kai, but the GameStop thing was interesting because there were a handful of people that clearly made a lot of money on this, right? And then there was a big group of people that you probably don't realize how many got swirled up in this and lost a lot of money. And that's sad to hear. That's sad to hear. And you've got to, no matter what investment decisions you're making, whether it's real estate, stock, bonds, getting involved in a private company like Elon buying Twitter, you really need to do your homework, and you should never make a decision that's an emotional decision, Doug. You really got to understand the due diligence. Do not fall in love with your investments. Fall in love with your family and do your homework on your investments, because you've got to be objective and separate, the real opportunity as it is objectively based on analytics, based on history, like Jeff talked about with the airlines, and not just take those shots of the moon. Now, once in a while, you want to throw $5 in the Giants, winning 3 Super Bowls in a row to win $1 million. Great, $5, no big deal. But not your kids, wedding in college and all those important retirement funds.
So I actually still have a little GameStop, right? I got
in on this.
I got in on it, right?
What are you holding out for me? Let me know.
So I heard there's still, because of the controversy, I've heard that there's still hedge funds that need to pay, or they need to buy back or sell, whatever. I don't know what has to happen, but there's still a belief that this is going to go up again. Now, like when you short a stock, you can hold it until you feel like selling. Is there a time frame?
No, you cannot. So there are margin calls, and if the stock has gone up, you bought it at 10 and it's at 20, the owner of that stock is going to call. They're going to give you credit up to a certain place.
Yeah.
But no, they're going to call it, and you're either going to have to sell it or write a check.
Yeah, covering your shorts is what that's called.
So, like, there's still a belief that this is going to go up again.
So if you Google it, there's a ratio of stocks shorted on any stock.
Yeah.
And so when I bought it, it was something like 90%.
Oh, that's unheard of.
It was insane. And before I bought it, I spoke to my guy at UBS, and I said, "What do you think?" And he did a bunch of research for me. He's like, whatever, try it. Just put a couple bucks.
Get in the game.
But because that short spread was so high, and I forget what the ratio is called, but one of your listeners hopefully will come up with that exact name. But you can Google the percentage of the stock that is shorted.
Yeah, that's a public number,
right?
And that was part of the thing, is that these investors were targeting companies that were really, really highly shorted. Right. And like AMC was one of them too.
I got AMC too. What was it?
AMC's
Burberry or something? The phone? Blueberry?
Blackberry. Good luck there.
I got them all. I fell for the trap.
But you didn't go out and buy a Blackberry. Yes,
I just want this.
You could have just bought Apple. You could have bought Apple stock.
I personally, GameStop was one of the few exceptions that I've made. I like Warren Buffett's approach.
Yeah.
He said, buy great companies, ignore the stock. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. But if it's in fact a great company,
sure,
just put it in your sock drawer and let it sit there and wait, because great companies will perform.
I think that's great. Who are 2 or 3 companies that you think kind of fill into the great company world?
So Tesla is definitely one of them. You mentioned SpaceX. I bought SpaceX maybe 2 years ago or so, and I love where it's going. I love the Starlink concept. There's so much I love about what SpaceX is doing. Amazon, I love. Jeff Bezos made a comment that the only reason that Amazon is so successful is because they fail at more things than anybody else. They try more things and they fail at them.
That means that that goes back to the trial and error, right?
Yep.
You've got to have a culture of accepting failure.
Yep.
Because that's what creates greatness. You got to go for it. And
Absolutely.
these little ideas on the plunger, maybe that was the start of putting all retail on end caps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
So I do love Amazon. But right now, for the most part, I do a mixture of small private investments through venture capital.
Right.
And then everything else is in an index fund or something that's managed.
Index funds
just sits
are
there.
smart too.
I don't sit and try and time markets
Very
ever.
tough.
I'm just terrible at it.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's great at it, but I'm not.
I've been wrong on every time I try to do that.
Yeah.
Every time. And it's very tough. What about real estate? I know we're going to have lunch and talk a little bit about real estate investing as well. Yep. What are some of the things in real estate that you're looking at now or thinking about or want to, for the audience, help diversify? If you're an entrepreneur, you're involved in so many different companies, what types of real estate help you diversify your portfolio?
I started investing in real estate maybe 15 years ago when we were looking to move and the market was down. And I said, well, I'm just going to move and I'm going to turn this into a rental house. And I kept that for about 15 years.
Okay. So that was a single family home?
Home.
Gotcha.
Then I bought a 3-family. Then I bought a 4-family. Then I bought a condo, and I had about 10 units I was operating.
Gotcha.
And now I've moved in. I have a 47-unit property. I have some vacation rental stuff.
That's awesome.
I've moved out of New Jersey, to be honest.
It's very tough.
I'm done in New Jersey.
Very tough.
Yeah. But I've also done some investing through other syndicates, though, where I go in on a warehouse deal or something specific. And I've done 4 or 5 deals that way that were really interesting.
How's been the experience with that?
Been great. You
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier you got a $150 check. I get these tiny little checks that are going to add up.
Hey, they add up, you know.
But now I'm going to be looking at doing my own syndicate, and I'm looking at multifamily and student housing.
Awesome.
Somewhere in the
awesome.
South. I love Memphis. I love northern Florida. South Florida is too expensive for me.
So cool. I think that's
So
great.
spreading out that way, yeah.
And so I want to be clear and careful also. When Jeff mentioned syndicate type deals, those are similar things that our company offers, but not until we had a chance to get to know you a little bit and know that you're what's called an accredited investor, and we understand what you can do in terms of you have to sign some certain documents. But if you're interested in doing those types of deals, they're out there on the internet with many companies that you may know, or you can make an appointment and reach out to us and we can talk about kind of your long-term planning for real estate. I'm not allowed to pitch any specific deal on this show, but I will tell you that we are kind of looking at a lot of things right now. And so if that's something you're interested in learning about passive investing, just shoot us a note at the email and I'm happy to get back to you and talk to you a little bit about it privately. And I've done passive investments too, which I mentioned to you. An apartment complex in North Carolina just paid me. I was excited to see that. So I'm glad that you've had a chance to, wet your beak, as they say, in some of those.
Yes.
Cool. So, all right, I'm ready to wrap up. Can we bring Jeff to the lightning round? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
You still have the
Absolutely.
the music?
He hasn't gone anywhere.
I know we haven't done that one in a week or two, but
Absolutely.
And if Jeff's up for it, it's just a series of a couple fun questions that we like to ask our guests.
Sure, bring it on.
And keep it light, keep it fun. The first thing that comes to your mind is a good enough answer for me. Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Oh yeah.
All right. What's a great business book that you'd recommend to up and coming entrepreneurs?
Oh, E-Myth.
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 Cool.
Tried and true. Been around for 100 years, but it's fantastic.
I know we talked a lot about Elon today. I would love to travel, and I know you love traveling, to outer space one day. I do plan to go before I die. I don't know if my wife Jessica will come with me, but I am going. Who would you trust if you're going to go with me? Who would you trust to take us? Elon, Bezos, or Richard Branson?
Oh, definitely Elon. He's the only one that's really done it.
Okay. All right. Good. First concert, best concert.
First concert was Steve Miller Band.
Nice.
Yes, that was also the first time I smelled pot.
Yep.
Best concert, probably U2.
Oh man, U2 kills it.
U2 is amazing.
Awesome. Last question. What's a goal that I can remind you of a year from now?
To build my real estate company.
All right. That's an easy one for me.
Yep.
No problem.
Yep.
All right, Jeff, you survived.
I made
The
it.
Get Up with Garret lightning round. No one has died yet. Thankfully, we support everybody, if there's a problem. So look, I appreciate everyone enjoying the show today. Tried a little bit of a later time as well. And feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can shoot us an email. It's getupwithgarret@gmail.com. You can always follow me on Instagram, Garret Graham. And any topics you want us to cover, any questions you have from a previous show, just shoot us a note and we'll try to address those. And thanks everyone for obviously contributing to the show live. Doug, have one more thing.
Got one more question. The live audience wants to know. Jordan wants to know, what kicks are Garret and Doug rocking today?
Wow.
Are we showing? All right, we're showing.
Geez. All right, Jordan, we got the Jordan 3s for sure.
Those are great.
I've had these for a while.
Way better than mine.
They've got kind of the elephant print on the side.
Nice.
The infrared red on the bottom.
Nice.
Definitely a classic.
Nice. I'm just
What do you
going
got?
basic trainers, just regular Nikes. I think these are called the Nike SCs. Put some red Ted Lasso laces on them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that question on the lightning round comes directly from Ted Lasso.
Great
He
show.
loves to ask people first concert, best concert.
Great show.
And hopefully we'll be able to, when we finish Cobra Kai, maybe Ted Lasso
Hopefully,
season 3 will be
wait
out.
for it. Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Remember, the more you give, the more you get. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care. Play us out, Dougie.